Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Search catalog. No life glitch thread. Be me. Come home from work at 11:30. Make myself a nice snack of milk and cookies. Go upstairs. Watch Netflix while munching. Go down to get another snack. Notice on the counter the same milk and cookies. What the hell?
You have all had similar experiences, and I believe that the objects could have phased out of our reality and into another. Me and my friend have both dropped pennies onto the floor and watched them vanish. In my case, I was cutting a penny with tin snips. It was cut into points while remaining connected. When I dropped it, I saw it hit the carpet and roll a few inches, then vanish mid-roll. I thought no way could this have disappeared, so I took apart my room, which was fairly clean and in order, looking for the coin. I didn't find anything until a few years later. It was in between my bed's metal frame and my mattress. This made no sense because I had checked there originally when I saw it disappear originally, and there is no way it could have gotten there by itself. Also, there was a time I was walking down Casino Road by Boeing. I had felt like picking up a stone I found, and had carried it with me. When I had gotten further down the road, I found a large super ball, rubber bouncy ball. It was bright lime green, and when there were no cars, I decided to throw it. It bounced once, then arched towards the median. When it was about to hit the line that separated the median from the main road, it looked like a pool ball falling into a pocket on a pool table. It was a bright, sunny day, sun at my back. The ball was lime green, and there was nowhere for the ball to go where it would be out of sight. There is much more to this reality.
B in 7th grade. Go over to friend's to work on a science project. Friend claims her house is haunted. Yeah, sure, friend, you lying sack of crap. Working on a project in the room in the basement. 1 hour into studying, doors slam shut violently. Friend and I look at each other like WTF. No one else in the house. Spoopy.png. Decide to take a break. Go upstairs to the main floor and grab snacks. Walk downstairs back to the basement. Friend and I both physically walk downstairs. End up back on the main floor instead of the basement. What? I would say I was just not paying attention, but we both walked downstairs from the main floor and somehow managed to end up on the main floor again. Friend moved out of the house a few months later, but we occasionally reminisce about how messed up this experience was.
This doesn't happen to me anymore, but it used to be a common thing within my life. I went to see a movie with my sister when I was pretty young. After the movie ends, I start feeling really weird. Stand up without realizing I stood up, silently walk out of the viewing area. Walk towards the bathroom without feeling in control of myself. Can't feel my feet hit the ground. Close my eyes and walk the same way, randomly turning and moving. Manage not to bump into anything or anybody and walk into the bathroom. Look into the mirror, feel like I'm not looking like myself. Tell my sister that everything feels set in stone. People walk around on predetermined paths. She ignores me. We walk outside of the theater and I'm crying for some reason. Not sad, but I can't hold my tears back. Smile and walk to the car. Suddenly feeling normal, face isn't wet. She asks me how the movie was. Apparently it's something called depersonalization disorder, or DPD, and it's the closest I've felt to something supernatural. Like watching myself outside of my body. I searched for what it was for years before I finally found out, and I cried because I didn't know if anything like that had ever happened.
This happened maybe 12 years ago. It was the middle of the afternoon when I went to one of my favorite fast food places. Afternoon means slow time for business, and the parking lot was almost empty. I parked and had stepped out of the car when I realized I forgot to grab the book I'd brought with me on the passenger seat. I leaned in, grabbed the book, stood up and promptly dropped it. It slid out of my fingers and hit the ground with a hefty splat as it was a big, heavy trade paperback. I go to pick it up and it's not on the ground. I look around under my car, in my car along the door frame. No book. It was just gone. There were no other cars nearby and it could have bounced under. Finally, I gave up, went inside and ate. Came out, looked again, still no book. I pulled out and looked at the space my car had been. Still no book on the ground. I went home bookless and thoroughly mystified. When I got home, I found that damn book sitting perfectly, flawlessly, squarely center on the recliner that faced the front door. Not only that, even though I'd heard it hit the asphalt, there was no fall damage on it. There is no possible way it was just a duplicate of the missing book because the book was one in a foreign language I had ordered directly from Europe. If there was another copy in the entire state, I would have been surprised. I joke that I am kind of let down by the experience because aren't these kinds of things supposed to have some kind of important mystical meaning? And this just didn't.
I don't know if this is really a glitch, but something happened and it was hell. Be me maybe 7 or 8 or something, I don't know. At my dad's coworker's house or something, playing Guitar Hero while they are talking and stuff. Hours go by and I fall asleep on the couch. Wake up in the car, it's nighttime and we're driving home. The inside of the car seems normal, but outside the car it looks like we're going hundreds of miles per hour. And all the other cars' lights are just those little lines because they go by so fast. Can barely breathe and ask parents what's going on, but they don't know what I'm talking about. The car literally speeds up to like hyperspeed or whatever from Star Wars, and tears come out of my eyes and I can barely breathe. I woke up at home the next morning and my parents didn't know what I was talking about. It felt so real I don't think it was a dream.
Be me. Junior in college, visiting my old childhood home for winter break last December. My sleep schedule has been thrown out of whack from the break, and I'm going to sleep around 6 o'clock a.m.-ish, 3:30 a.m. Decide to have a smoke on the second-story porch. Noticed the door wasn't locked when I went out, and since I've always been a paranoid person, I make a point to lock it on the way back in. Go to take a shower in the bathroom, the room right next to the door to access the porch. Even though it's my own home, I'm feeling extra spooked tonight, so I explicitly remember myself getting out of the shower immediately after I stepped in and locking the bathroom door. Now that no skeletons can get me, I get back in the shower. Scrub a dub-dub. Get out of the shower and dry off. Reach to unlock the door to leave. Freeze in disbelief as I notice that the door is already unlocked. The bathroom is super small, so it's obvious I'm the only one in there. Get out of there and start heading back down the long hallway to my room. Pass by the second-story porch door. It's also unlocked. I just want to do is hide in my room, but decide to check in on my parents to make sure they're not dead or something. They're fine, and the dog is in their room, all asleep. Check the rest of the house quickly. Nothing. Lock myself in my room for the rest of the night, afraid to sleep until I hear my dad get up for work 4 hours later. I still don't know what to make of any of it, so I just don't think about it. The porch stretches across the entire front side of the house, passing in front of my bedroom window, the porch door, and the bathroom window in that order. The only logical explanation is that someone removed the screen on the window of the bathroom while I was in the shower, came in, placed it back, left through the bathroom door, and then out through the porch, unlocking each one. But obviously this couldn't have happened without me noticing.
This one's just bizarre. Loved The Mighty Boosh, a shit comedy TV show, when I was 14. Reading this book about the show with my mate who also loved it, the book contains one of the characters' phone numbers. It was part of some joke. The number was about 9 digits long. I saved the number to my phone because of banter. Never call it or really do anything with it. About 1 year later, playing Mario Kart alone. Phone rings next to me. The screen says, "Old Greg," character's name, is calling. WTF. Don't answer. Finish the race. Call the number back. It goes to the answering machine of a local girls' Catholic school, which I have never called, and who have never called me. What the hell, man? Check old Greg's number in my contacts. It's still the same 9-digit joke number. Definitely not the contact number for a school. Call it again. Number not recognized. Can't connect call as I'd expect. Try a few more times and never get the school to connect again. I wish I'd picked up when it first called, but that probably would have broken the matrix.
Be 5 or 6. My family lives in a small trailer on my grandparents' 8-acre property. There's a large field between my dad's house and grandparents' house, and a smaller field behind our house, which is full of foot-tall grass and a forest next to it. I'm playing with my younger sister near the swing set behind the house. On a clear sunny day, I noticed that a dark creature was running towards us. It's larger than a dog, but smaller than a bear. I grabbed my sister's arm and started running to the front door. I could feel the creature at my heels, but it never caught us when we went in the house. I looked behind me and the creature was standing in front of the screen door. My mother walked in the room and casually asked what was going on. I took my eyes away from the door for a split second, about to tell her about the creature. But when I looked back at the door, it was gone.
This story will sound ridiculous, but I swear this happened to me. B10. Wake up randomly during the night. See a strange ambient light outside everywhere. Somehow it is both day and night at the same time. I know that doesn't make sense, but when you see it yourself, it does. Wander outside and into the woods. Fall into a hole, a really big ditch. Yoda is there. Keep reading. I'm not joking. Yoda tells me I am the chosen one and shows me a gold crown. He says he will leave the gold crown down on the wood stove downstairs in my house. I wake up the next morning and rush downstairs, and the golden crown is actually there. 17 years later, and Yoda still hasn't contacted me with orders. But pick related, it's the golden crown of the chosen one.
Not sure if this counts as a glitch. When I was younger, I didn't dream at all. Everyone said we all dream, but sometimes we forget it when we wake up, so I didn't care. One night, I had a dream. First time I can recall one. As I grow up, I start dreaming once in a month or so. One specific dream I can remember was about me drawing for a woman wearing a red shirt when suddenly a cute girl enters the room and smiles at me. I kept thinking about that dream because cute girl was seriously cute. You know where this is going. Turned 14 or so. I dream again, but it's very surreal. Floating rocks, the moon falling to the earth, buildings rising before me, talking animals, places I've never been and people I never met. Too much TV. One day, one of those dreams from when I was younger comes true. Whatever déjà vu or some nonsense keeps happening, still not convinced. When I was 19, I was working at my mum's convenience store. A woman wearing a red shirt comes in and asks for directions. She lost, so I started drawing a map, then sudden realization. I kept drawing but was nervous. Girlfriend enters the store. I almost shat bricks. Same face, same clothes, literally the girl of my dreams. It kept happening for 3 or more years. I'm not sure. Now I know I dreamed about some events of my life even before I understood what was happening in those dreams. I never told anyone. Hasn't happened in 5 years or so. I wished it would happen again someday.
I got a similar one. Be about 10, living in a tropical place, hot as hell and hate it. Go to sleep and immediately start dreaming. In the dream, I'm a much older person driving a car down a snowy road. Very specifically remember passing a huge electrical substation in the shadow of a giant hydroelectric dam. Sitting next to a redhead girl who won't shut up in the passenger seat, felt immense feelings for this girl, but couldn't understand them at the time. Still dreaming that I'm driving, but the car has crazy LCD screens and looks super futuristic. Glance at speedometer and look up into the rearview mirror to see a purple van driving behind me that is driving dangerously fast for an icy road. Van speeds past me but slides as it pulls in front. Massive crash.avi. I try to swerve but slam into the underside of it as it's rolled over. Look over to see female passenger. There's blood everywhere. She's dead. Wake up bawling my eyes out. Horrible dream. Can't get back to sleep. 22 years have passed. I'm all grown up and have gotten a job working as a line worker in a different country for a power company. Out in a new Subaru Forester. Need all-wheel drive for the snow. With a co-worker. I really like her. Definitely have feelings for her. She's a redhead from Ireland. She's raving on about Putin and the US NATO forces. I love this girl. We pass under power lines from our plant's hydro dam. I start feeling weird and begin shivering. The road is getting slippery. Glance at speedometer. Look up in the rearview mirror to see the van from my dreams. It all comes flooding back. Heart is beating like crazy. I put the hazard lights on and slow down, pulling to the side to let the idiots pass me. They scream past us and slide on the ice. The whole van slides sideways into the snow and flips on its side. Occupants okay, but some fairly serious injuries. I still haven't told the redhead girl how I feel about her.
Don't have a ton of glitches. I've lost a handful of things that never turned up, through tearing apart my belongings and unpacking them through moves. The thing that comes to mind most is a couple of minor strange events from a few years ago on walks through the city. Walking to Safeway, in a great mood. get in the store, walking with purpose to the desired aisle. On the way, time slows down. Mentally, time has not slowed. I'm properly flipping out, walking in slow motion. My arms and legs cannot move through space any faster. Why can't I move? After an awful eternal moment of this, time speeds back up to normal. Nobody around me seems fazed. Has never happened, that I recall, before or since. Another, less horrifying. Taking a walk with my partner. Reach a crosswalk. There's a man stopped at the light. Something is terribly wrong with his face. His nose is missing and there's just a gnarly crater where it should be. Try to show my partner. He looks at me like I'm nuts. That was just some old lady, anon. Will insists to this day that I was mistaken.
Be me last summer, driving through town, come up to an intersection with traffic lights. Lights are green, drive on through. Suddenly, screech! Look out my window. Giant truck coming up perpendicular to me. 90 kilometers per hour minimum. Flinch and blink on instinct. Suddenly back at the stop line with my foot slammed down on my brake pedal. Truck driver barrels through the intersection, missing all vehicles and pedestrians by sheer luck. Did I die?
I don't remember where this came from, but here. When I was a boy of 10, I was convinced that I had been killed repeatedly in my own lifetime. I reckoned that most people had been killed pretty often, but each time death approached, their consciousness would slip into an alternate timeline where whatever killed them was either non-lethal or non-existent, leaving observers a dead body, unwise to the escape. How many times, I wondered, had an airplane fallen on my house or crocodiles invaded my room, only to have my mind flee to a safer plane of existence? Was this true? And one also assumed that there are an infinite number of universes to choose from. Then every person on Earth would eventually exist in a world where they were the oldest living thing, their apparent immortality unexplained by conventional science. Knowing this, I decided to test my hypothesis. If I were to die, then I was wrong. But if I didn't, my theory was true. So far, so good.
Something similar happened to me. Walking out of CVS. Step into the parking lot, huge thump, and I'm on the ground really numb, and I see a red beat-up truck speed off blink. I'm walking out of the store. WTF. Look both ways. Beat to shit truck comes barreling through the parking lot at like 30. I watch and get in my car. I have like 4 of these. Plus, I was very, very near death as a child.
My experiences are of two kinds. Unfortunately, I have been psychically very low lately, so they are all from years back. 1. On 2 occasions, I can remember getting out of my dad's car at night after mostly sleepless days of exams. And as I looked up in the sky, for a split second in real time, everything made sense. I was lifted out of my material surroundings and everything was a beautiful mass just in the universe. 2. I have in numerous times seen images in my dreams that happened much later in real life, out of any context containing people I hadn't met yet. Like video frames, but 3D and with feelings. I am quietly accepting this, but I can't explain it. It's mostly meaningless things, like a bar I spent the New Year's on with my girlfriend and another couple. I had foreseen our table, the decoration of the bar, the lighting and the mood, even the people, some of whom I didn't know at the time. It's mostly like affirming myself in a safe way that everything's going according to plan. And it was. Now I'm facing some troubles and all the psychic stuff is gone. I keep seeing 21 everywhere. Help me out, please. Any benevolent souls? What is any of this? Oh, I also think I have helped heal someone close to me at the time by praying intensely for an hour or so. I really felt something happening there. Sorry for the irrelevant post. Just not many active threads, and I wouldn't call any of this magic.
B16. Driving down a road out in rural Florida at midnight. It's a long, straight road. See an abandoned trailer home and some dead animal on the side of the road next to it. I couldn't figure out what it was. Maybe like a possum or raccoon, most likely. It was pretty badly mutilated. Driving along, everything seems fine and dandy, until we see the same abandoned trailer and dead animal again. Is it just me, or did we pass the same 2 things? I said to my dad. Yeah, I saw it too. Okay, I wasn't seeing things. Road keeps going straight for a while, but there are no intersections. See the same things again. Okay, seriously, what the hell? Me and my dad are freaking out. See it a 3rd time. Nope. We eventually found a gravel road that led us out into another road with cars. Feels like a huge pressure was relieved off my body. We managed to get to our relatives. This road is not on maps at all. Me and my dad tell the story a lot, but not many people believe us, but that was weird. We were driving for pretty much an hour going straight on that road.
I can only remember experiencing a life glitch once in my life. It was when I was young, in like year 1 or 2. I was at school having lunch with my friend and we were both sitting on opposite sides of those table bench things. I had my lunchbox in front of me with my drink bottle to the right of me. From memory, there weren't too many people around us. The bell rings to go back inside, so I pack up my lunchbox and reach for my drink bottle. But it's gone. In its place is a drink bottle that's exactly the same color and brand except it's bigger, like a larger version of the same bottle. I searched all around the area, but I couldn't find mine. It may or may not have had the same drink in it. My memory of it is pretty hazy. But I ended up putting the bottle into my bag and taking it home. When my dad asked about where my bottle was and what this one was, I told him, but he didn't believe me.
I don't know if this is a life glitch or what, but I feel like this story kind of fits as a long-term déjà vu, paranormal type thing. I've never told this story to anyone, and I've kept this whole experience to myself up until now. But ever since this happened, I have this sense of feeling like I missed out on some sort of magical sign. Thinking about it now, it almost feels like a dream, but I know for certain this happened to me. When I was in grade 1 to grade 3, I went to the local elementary school in my hometown. It ranged from grade 1 to grade 7 and was fairly big with 2 playgrounds and a large field with a running track going around it, and a long jump pit on the farthest side from the actual school building. Being kids, we did the usual kid thing and played around during recess and lunch break, and one of the fun things to do was to dig in the sandy end of the long jump pit deep enough to collect clay. It was the cool thing to do, and we all had Ziploc bags with clay in them, and the more clay you had, the cooler you were. One day in the spring of my first grade, school's in September to June here, a few of my friends and I stayed after school a little bit while waiting for our parents to pick us up and were digging for clay. I was super stoked because it was a day where we had made a lot of progress and dug fairly deep so that the clay was still quite moist. I was digging in my section when I hit something solid. I dug out what I had hit, and it was a piece of plastic about the size of a microscope slide, and on one end there was a snowflake etched into it, similar to the picture. I thought it was really beautiful, and after wiping it off, it was actually incredibly clear for being in the dirt and sand and reminded me of an unmelting sheet of ice. Hadn't gotten to the glitch part, but whatever, here it goes anyway. I didn't show any of my friends because I felt like it had some sort of special significance and put it in my pocket and went home with my mom. I stared at it all night, and before I went to bed, I put it in my jewelry music box where I kept all my important stuff as a kid. The next day I looked at it when I woke up and then again at night before I went to bed. This continued for a week until one morning I woke up and opened my jewelry box and it was gone. I had no idea where it could have gone because, like I said, I had looked at it the night before and I tore my room apart looking for it to no avail. I was bummed, but then soon forgot about it. I didn't think about it again until the fall-winter of second grade. It was starting to get cold out and be frosty and the ground was frozen. So instead of digging for clay, we would ice skate on the frozen puddles by the school entrance playground outside. It was only like borderline cold, so the top parts of the puddles were frozen, but underneath the top sheet was water, and if too many of us stood on the ice, then it would break. I was skating when the ice broke. I decided to pick up the broken sheet, and that's when I saw it again. The plastic piece with the snowflake etched into it. It was almost as if the plastic piece was a part of the ice sheet and had broken off. I couldn't even believe it. After finding it the first day in the sand pit, I had brought it home and left it there, and here it was again. Except this time it was like someone had broken off a long piece diagonally. The snowflake was the same and in the same place, so apart from the broken edge, it was identical to the piece I had found before. I put it in my pocket and brought it home. I did the same ritual as I did before, and almost like clockwork. After a week, I looked in the box and it was gone. This was when I started to get kind of spooked and feel super déjà vu. I tried to push it out of my mind until summer of second grade. My friends and I were hanging out in the sand pit digging for clay when it happened again. I found the same piece except another piece had broken off so that only the snowflake end was present, but the jagged edge on one side matched where it had broken off before. I was really freaked out, so I just stopped what I was doing and told my friends I had to go home. This time around, I decided not to keep it in the jewelry box. but on the top of my dresser right beside the box. I woke up a few times in the night that week to look over and see if it was still there. And since it was the summer, even during the day, I would come in from watching TV or playing outside with the neighborhood kids just to check and see if it was still sitting there. For a week, it never moved from where I had put it, but just like clockwork, a week later it disappeared. I moved to a different school for the 3rd grade and never went back there except to play on the playground sometimes. I feel like even if I went back there to look for the Snowflake piece, I wouldn't be able to find it because each time I did, it had broken into a smaller and smaller piece. Like the chance of unlocking the weird secret it held was getting smaller and smaller, until there was no chance left.
About 7 years ago, be 14-year-old chav paperboy, delivering papers on my bike, bombing down a hill really fast, busy road at the bottom. Old bike, has bad brakes. Brake too late and can't slow down fast enough. Try and use your feet to slow down. Still no good. Zoom off the curb onto the busy road. Slowed down to a stop. I'm in the middle of the road. See a car coming at me at about 60 miles per hour. Car tries to brake, but it's too late. I'm stunned with fear. All I can manage to do is close my eyes. Suddenly feel really warm. Feel like I'm floating. Open my eyes. I'm on the other side of the road, totally fine. Look back and see the car has finally stopped and the guy is looking from me on the road. Right away scared. Finish delivering papers. Never tell anyone. Shh.
At one point in my life, I was convinced I had found some sort of exploit to life where everything went my way all the time. At that time, I had won at least 70 different random chance contests. I didn't have to stop at a single red light while driving. They would always turn green right when I got there. Some random person in a random lobby of an online game decided to message me to tell me I was bad at the game, and that person later ended up becoming my long-term girlfriend for years. And just crazy things would happen to me where the odds of them happening were so slim, they should be statistically impossible. Probably the craziest thing that ever happened to me was when I desperately needed co-op hours filled out for a class in school, but I hadn't grabbed any sheets for it. The school was closed by this point, and the place where I co-opted was closed too. But as I walked down the street, a little folded-up piece of orange paper blew onto the sidewalk, and it turned out to be one of the co-op sheets from my school. And I decided to check the store I had co-opted at just in case, computer repair place. And my boss just happened to be getting back from a house call to grab some stuff he left in the store over 3 hours after it had officially closed. But then one day my good luck ran out. Tons of bad shit started happening to me in droves, and since then I've seemed to have nothing but bad luck. I guess whoever runs the simulation we call real life patched my exploit.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.
There's also a Rumble archive as a backup.